Hey guys, welcome back to Borderline Banter Brews podcast. Today we have a special topic. Billy and Daisy are on this episode today.
Hello.
What up?
Billy, as you guys know, he's part of the show, and Daisy was part of the holiday episode, which was
Where I
more
won
like
my $15 gift card.
What?
Thank you.
yeah, yeah. She was part of that episode as well, so we had to bring her back for another one. Today's topic is kind of controversial. I just thought about this episode because last episode Daniel brought up a question. He was like, "What do you call when men support men?" And from there, I was like, "Okay, that's a good topic there," because our first answer was machista, but if you heard the last episode, he said machista sounds really negative, and yeah, so I just want to roll with that. So machista, just so everybody knows, it means a person who holds traditional values of masculinity, characterized by male dominance and superiority of men over women.
See, but that is not what we were talking about. Men supporting men, because men supporting men is more like lifting your homie up whenever they need to be lifted up, or giving your friend the guy like the respect and hype that he deserves whenever he does something good, or if he's not doing good or he's not feeling bad, the platform to raise him up. That's kind of what we were meaning. Whereas chauvinism is basically what you were just talking about.
Yeah,
is not what we're meaning. Like that is like.
Yeah, I'm like, that doesn't sound like machismo. Like, that's not what I would have thought about. I don't think there is a Spanish word for, like, guys supporting guys. Because I feel like it's just an unspoken thing within the male community, at least with Hispanics.
It's the force. No, what?
Yeah, like, it's like you're... And I think they only speak of it if you're not doing, like, manly things. Like, they'll call you a little mariposita or something. Like a little butterfly. Or like just even worse negative things. But when you're doing something right and like being a man, it's like, okay, good. But you're not acknowledged for it because it's already expected.
Yeah, but we're talking about getting that acknowledgement that most men actually don't get. They don't get the acknowledgement for the things that they're going through, the things that they do. Most of the time, the things that they're going through just stay with them because in their mind, and I say this from experience, most people just don't care. Like what you're going through, and it's like, you're a man, get over it, dude. Move on.
But I feel like it's gotten better.
It's gotten better, but it's still
I think it's still definitely taboo. But
yeah, so I feel like it's definitely evolving, but especially for Hispanic cultures, like you mentioned, Daisy, I don't think there is such a thing. Like, there's no men supporting men type of thing. Like, it's just something that happens at times. Because I really have. I mean, I grew up in a machismo culture. Like, my mom cooks, my dad works. There's that's their dynamic. That's what it's always been until me, until my generation. Like, now we're different.
Yeah, but I feel like it also has a lot to do with like the world that we grew up in. Because, well, like economically and just like in every type of way. Because before, at least a man could hold down a house. And nowadays, I feel like that's not even possible. And I feel like that's what forced the conversation about like acknowledging men's emotions.
It's not even possible unless you make over $120,000 a year.
Yeah, like it's insane. I mean, I'm not saying it's impossible, but like it's very rare.
I mean, you would think you like just the median house cost is like 300,000-400,000, and in order to pay the taxes and everything and to get approved for the loan, you got to be making like 120 to 150,000 a year.
Which is ridiculous.
And median household income is 50 grand. Like the median household income is, or like the household income is 50 grand per person. So you'd have to have dual income of over 60 G's to even get approved without a cosigner. Yeah, without a cosigner.
Okay. So let me ask this. So that side of things, like that I have not like I have seen, because I'm already married, but Okay, in your opinion,
just shooting strays at us like left and right. Man, all right,
no,
chill,
no,
dude.
I mean, like you can speak freely is what I'm trying to say. So, knowing that, you know, like, okay, it takes like in this generation, it takes two people, right, to maintain a house.
Mm-hmm.
Do you believe that because it's 50-50, you don't have the ability to be a chauvinist or like be machista? Or do you feel like when you pay the bills, when you take control of everything, it's okay? Or like, what is your thoughts on that?
So here's what I have to say on it. Like, as a female, in my previous relationships, I've always been the person that makes the most money. And I was so used to being like dominant over the male in that matter. And at first it was like cool and all. Like, it feels good being able to support myself and then also still have a little bit left over to spoil my significant other. But then this past relationship that I was in, he earned far more money than I did. And that's where I learned what being spoiled is. And like
Yeah.
not having to ask for stuff and not like, I would literally say, oh, I want X. And then the next time we would see each other, he would have it for me. So I don't want to say names. So my so I have an ex and then I have an ex fiance. So my ex fiance is the one that would buy me stuff. And my ex, it's like, okay, so we were living together in an apartment, right? And I understood that, you know what, like it's hard. And he's the person that I was okay with struggling with. I was like, I love you. Like, I will struggle with you, but we're going to make it together, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I started noticing that there was no slack being picked up. So, for example, we moved to my dad's to save money. And for 2 years, I even had like $800 saved up for my daughter, like literally in a sock drawer somewhere. And he was like, oh, I'm investing money. I'm buying shoes and I'm reselling them. I want to have like my own little shoe business or company or whatever, like just reselling things. And I was like, okay, but like, keep in mind, this is our daughter's money, you know? So in my head, I'm like, okay, if he doesn't have respect for my stuff, at least he'll have respect for my daughter's stuff. And he ended up, something big just happened, like a big argument. And his mom was like, how much money do you guys have saved? And he looks at me and he's like, none. And I'm like, what? And I'm like, what happened to the $800 that I gave you? And keep in mind, I gave him $800. And like a year and a half later, it comes out that he had no money saved. And I was like, what do you mean you have no money saved? And I was like, what did you do to it? And he's like, well, I never tell you no to anything, right? And I'm like, dude, like, I don't have my nails done. I don't have my toes done. Like, I don't have my hair done. I don't do anything. So, like, what do you mean? And at that time, we were getting food stamps. So I'm like, what is this money going to, you know? But his little inventory was like stocked up with Supreme and these shoes that weren't being sold. And then we got an apartment and I got a job and I started holding myself down. And with this job, I was able to pay the rent, pay the bills, and get my nails done. And I was like, the relationship was rocky already, like not just emotionally, like not just financially, I mean, but emotionally too. So I was like slowly exiting out of it in my brain because I'm like, if he's not going to be a man and I can hold myself up, like, why am I struggling with this man when he's not like holding up his end of the stick? You know what I mean? I was like, well, what's the point of having a man if he's not going to spoil me? And it was only reinforced whenever with my ex fiance, because it's just like at this point and where I'm at, I'm not going to struggle with anybody anymore. Like, I just don't have it in me. So it's just like, I'd rather be with somebody who's already financially stable, or I'd rather be alone because I'm not about to go through any emotional struggle or financial struggle with anybody else.
Yeah. Like, first of all, thanks for sharing. I know it's not easy to just share that.
But that's
Like, that
just one
brings,
experience. You know what I mean?
yeah, but it brings up a great point though, because that's why I say like the machismo era stopped with me, because not to share like too much personal either, but the reason it stopped with me is because of that, like that dynamic change. Like, my wife makes a little bit more than I do, and she made more than I did at the beginning as well, because I mean, I progressed through my job. I went up roles, you know. So
Yeah.
by the time I made enough as she did, she went up again. So, but my point, my point being is, I don't have that a bit. Like, I don't know if I would say I would be a machista if I paid for everything, but my like since it's 50-50, I feel like I cannot be that way.
What do you mean?
Like I can't be that, oh, I have this control over you, I pay for everything, you know, like,
Oh, yeah.
not that I would
Yeah.
want to be that way, but I feel like I can't do that because since she's providing, I'm providing, we're equal, you know.
Yeah, exactly.
That's
And
my view.
that's how it should be. But like in the place that I was in with my ex, it's just like when we were at my dad's, he wasn't saving money. When we were at my dad's, he wouldn't even cut the yard. He cut the yard like one time in 2 years. When my dad was cleaning the garage, he'd be inside playing video games. Like there was no sign of a man for me there. And then that's where I would also lose a little bit of respect because it's just like I always saw my dad growing up, waking up, leaving the home at 7 in the morning, coming back home like at 10 p.m. You know, like we weren't rich by any means, pero nunca nos faltaba food, you know? Like we always had food. We like no like we had a roof over our heads. We were okay. And just seeing somebody not like be a man, like I know that's kind of sexist to say, but like in my eyes, him not being a man, it did not make me want to be a woman. I did not want to clean up. I didn't want to do stuff. Like it was honestly like sad and depressing being with somebody like that was just like not being a man in any way. Like
You're
all
like
he could do
matching
is
energy.
yeah, exactly. Like I feel like I don't want to be that inappropriate, but like if all he's good for is for D, like I can go buy one at Spencer's.
Oh my
Like
god.
I can literally take care of all of this myself. What are your thoughts on this, Billy?
I've always been under the under the impression that a relationship has always been a partnership, and that's how I viewed it
Mm-hmm.
since I was little. And I feel like too many people view a relationship as that's my girl or that's my man, and not as much as that's my partner and that's my best friend. Because
Yes.
if you're not in that headspace whenever you get with somebody of you're good with yourself by yourself, then trying to incorporate somebody in what you're good with by yourself and them trying to change what you are good with to fit what they're good with and there's no compromise in there, that right there is not a partnership, that's a dictatorship, and I've been in too many of those. So
Or not
I
even then, like just
like
like a roommate type thing.
well yeah, like that's another thing is like a roommate type thing is a contract. In my opinion, it's a contract. Your partner's in the house, and if there's things that need to be done, work together. That's what this is. Y'all are living together. You work together to get things done. Meaning, like if the
Exactly.
kid, if that's one thing that one of my old roommates and I were so good at is that if we were hungry, we would go and make sure that we had groceries, and then we would cook. And after we got finished, we would clean the kitchen, and the whole kitchen would be clean. And the dishes would be going, and we'd sit down, we'd eat, we'd watch something or do our separate things. But regardless, like we treated everything like it was a partnership. Like when he needed to mow the yard, one of us would mow the front and we'd eat, and the other one would mow the back, and then the other one would we'd eat. We'd switch,
Yeah.
and that's kind of how I view it. Like don't get me wrong, I'm not one to say a woman should, a man should go out and mow the yard every time, and or a woman should always do the dishes or anything. I'm not that kind of person. I feel like it is a partnership. It's equal. Don't get me
Yeah.
wrong. If I feel bad if I woke up and say my girl, if I had one, is out there mowing the yard, I'm gonna be like, "Oh, what? No, 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 no." Like it's an instinctual thing. Like, no, no, no. I'll take care of that. Go do something else. I
Yeah.
can't watch you do this. However, I'm also a type of person that like I hate mowing the yard because it's Texas and it's hot as hell. So, like, as if I don't have to, I won't. Hence, I live in an apartment, so I don't have to touch the yard. So I mean, that's where, and if that's the case, then that's where I pick up at other places. You know, like I feel like, again, it's a partnership. You are in this together. You're in this relationship together, and whenever you're with a partner, like say you're a team, using an example as like a sports or anything team. Whenever they need to do something, the first thing that they need to do is communicate. It is a big situation. It's like, hey, watch this over there, or hey, move in here. It's the same, is almost the same idea as, hey, I am feeling stressed or I need help here. It might be a more difficult conversation, but it is something that a lot of, I think, of relationships miss, is that part of the communication, like, hey, I feel like you're messing up. And the problem isn't just women or men, it's both of them, because a lot of men will take that as like emasculating them, like, hey, you're bringing me down. There are a lot of little man syndrome people out there that will like hear that and be like, what the fuck do you mean, and get defensive. But that's a different problem than, just listening to your partner, trying to communicate like, hey, I'm feeling this, we need to, can we meet somewhere here? Because like, I'm also the type of person that I like to do my thing, but I also like my partner to be near. They don't have to be
Mm,
doing exactly what I'm doing. They can be doing their own thing while I'm doing my own thing. And if they want me to stop doing my thing and we spend some time together, by all means. But I have a very close knit group of friends that I talk to every day. So we kind of like do our own thing, and every time any of us have gotten a lady, like, the lady has joined our group and they've been a part of it openly.
Oh, that's good.
so like that's super interesting. Like while you were both explaining, I was kind of like trying to put myself in your guys' shoes. So, oh my god. So, the first question, Daisy. So, your parents. I know you were saying how like your dad, but like you saw how manly like his characteristics were, like doing things that a man should be doing. So, what kind of dynamic did your parents have growing up? Like, was he like the provider and your mom stayed at home, or do you think it was like more 50-50?
No, it was definitely my dad was a provider and my mom would stay at home. And so if I go into depth, this is how I'm a little bit like, remember how I told you I'm half like traditional and half feminist?
Yeah.
Well, as you know, in several Mexican households or like Hispanic households, the males are very abusive,
Mm-hmm.
whether verbally or physically. And I grew up in that atmosphere. So while I do enjoy the idea of like the male working and the parent, like the mom staying at home, I do recognize that it's important for women to be able to hold their own just so that they don't always have to depend on a man. Because men, I feel like if you rely entirely on a man, then it's like what you said, Brandon, like they feel like they have dictatorship over that person. And it's terrible to have that. And that's why I think it should, like, people just really need to be good picking their partners and being thorough about it. Cause
Yeah.
I mean, I know a friend that got married and the guy was all rainbows and butterflies, and then they had a kid and he became abusive and now they're getting a divorce, but he was badly abusive.
Sure.
So it's like, I'm not going to say that traditional households come with abuse,
Hmm.
but it's like, I don't know, it's weird. Are you able to like add to that?
It's super complicated in my opinion because I feel like they were raised. That's all they saw. That's all they grew up in. But although that sounds like a super lame excuse, I feel like that's all they know.
No,
When
yeah, absolutely.
like I like you know how Billy was saying that if he sees his girl like doing the yard or doing things that a man should be doing, he's gonna jump in and basically be like, "Hey, why are you doing this?" So I hope she's okay with me admitting this, but Talia, like my wife,
Uh-huh.
she doesn't she likes doing things like what's it called, painting. She likes there's no like female does this, male does that. Like she'll want to like see, oh, how does the oil get changed in the car,
Yeah,
like.
yeah.
So I won't like I do. Okay, I'm admitting like I will say like, hey, like why do you care about that when either me or somebody like your dad can do it? But she'll be like generally interested in that. So what I've been doing over the years, like if she wants to paint, like I'll be like, okay, you could have asked me to do that, but I mean you're doing it already, so I mean that's
Yeah.
fine too.
But I feel like that's a good thing about you, though, because you give her the comfortability to be able to do that. Because I feel like when it becomes a thing that she would like, let's say that you didn't do it, like it's something that she has to do, that's where the issue would be. Again, that's where we tie in like the traditional stuff where it's like the machismo.
Mm.
And it's where I said, like, well, if I can do it on my own, and if Brandon doesn't even let me, I mean, if Brandon doesn't care enough to do it, then what do I need Brandon for? You know? But at
Yeah.
least there's like that little bit of hesitation from your end. But like at least there's a little bit of hesitation. Like you give her the comfortability to be feminine. So whenever she brings out her masculine, like it's okay for her because it's not her every day. But whenever it's a woman, like it becomes a woman's job to be masculine because she has to be masculine, like that's not fun because her feminine energy never gets to come out. Like, and we need that, obviously, like we're women. So
Yeah.
I think that's like really good. Like that's good for you because like my ex fiance was kind of like that too. Like I like doing stuff, but I don't want to have to do it.
Yeah, I get that. I like how you describe that. It is kind of difficult at times though. Like I was saying, like I admit that recently she wanted to paint the bathroom, and if you watch the YouTube, I did a YouTube rule series with her about pregnancy and everything, and one of her things that she said was, if you want to paint the restroom, do it. And she was kind of like salty in mentioning that, and it was fine. I mean, we're real on the podcast, but she said that because when she was doing it, I was like, hey, why you painting the restroom? Like you're pregnant, and two, like I could have done this, and you know, like it didn't bother me like to a point where I like got mad, but it bothered me to the point where I felt like damn, I'm not a man enough or something for you to tell me to do it. You know,
Oh,
sort of
okay.
like that.
Uh-huh.
But and I mean, when I saw her doing it, I still said like, okay, you know, go for it. Like I'm not gonna stop you.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
understand both sides. However, I probably would have me myself. I wouldn't have felt that way. I would have been more. Do you need help with this? Like, not as much. Um, I could have done this as much as. Do you want me to get a paintbrush? You want some help? We can get down on this. I'll help you because that's where in my mindset that I've grown up with is that's the partnership. You're doing this.
Mhm.
This is a big task. Do you
Yeah.
need help? I'm your partner. We could do this together. You don't have to be alone in this. Unless this is what you want. This is if you want to be alone in this, then I respect that. I'm going to go away and give you your space to do this. But know that I'm not going to sit here and make you should not think that because you're doing this that I don't want to help you because I will. Because I mean, it's one of those things that I look at it as anything like that, like cooking together or painting a bathroom together could be a memory. It could be something as if you've seen what was it, Inside Out, a core memory. It could something could happen that was just like sticks out for a while, and that could be a defining moment in your relationship. And I feel like so many times those things are looked over as me coming up like for example my approach saying do you need help and the woman being like why because I'm a woman.
Yeah.
Because that's not my thought process and a lot of men that is their thought process, but there are some of us that that's not our thought process. Our thought process is well, I don't want you to make you feel like you need to do it alone, not that you can't do it alone, more power to you,
Yeah.
you go girl, but I can help you if you want some company.
Yeah, but I mean, Brandon's also been with Dalia for 10 years. So I feel like right now, as a single person, we kind of think more thoughtfully. But once you get into a relationship with somebody for that long, like you start to get comfortable. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
you know your partner, you get comfortable. So like you understand their cues. Like I'm pretty sure if Talia had like a mad face or something, then Brandon would be like, okay, well, let me help or something like that, you know, or no, Brandon, you just don't ask for to help.
No,
I
I
mean,
did.
I feel like if there's a mad face though, that's where the whole communication breakdown is, and I feel like she has the thought process that she doesn't have to communicate that to Brandon because she knows he's going to come check on her,
Yeah.
and if she needs help, then he's going to assert himself there, or she feels comfortable enough, and that's what you said. Going back on what you said is they've been together long enough; they know that. Whereas a more dysfunctional relationship would have been a mad face, pouty, and the guy being like, "Okay, what's wrong?" And that's where the conversation starts instead of, "Hey, do you need some help?"
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, and like that's where the communication breakdown I feel like a lot of times is, and that's because, in my opinion, a lot of times the love languages don't connect. Like, I'm a words of affirmation and a quality
Oh,
time person. That's the
I
reason
feel
why
you
I
so
would
hard on that
That's the
one.
reason why I would immediately be like, "Hey, do you need some help?" Because that's quality time to me.
Yeah.
And if I get a yeah or a thank you for helping me, that affects my number one, which is words of affirmation.
Or
Like,
what if
I'm
she's
like,
like, yeah, if you want.
I mean, if I want, obviously, I want to spend some time with you. Is literally what I would say. Yeah, sure, I want to spend some time with you. If you need some help, tell me where to start. I don't want to mess it up.
So one thing I'm noticing is like you guys sound super optimistic, and that's fine. More
What do
power
you
to you
mean
guys.
optimistic?
No,
Like,
it's not. It's not optimism. It's different point of views. Honestly, like,
yeah, that
yeah,
too. But
I know it's in a perfect world. Yeah, every instance that I approach is like that. However, I've never seen said perfect world.
yeah, that
Oh yeah.
I've only made it to the beginning of that conversation of, "Hey, what's wrong? Are you okay?" Instead of the, "Hey, do you need some help? You do? Awesome. Let's do this together." That's the perfect world. That doesn't happen. Most of the time it's, "Are you mad at me? What did I do?" But and that's the thing, is that's the communication thing, is because she's not saying, if she want, like, for example, if she wants you to help her, she's not leading with, "Hey, I want to paint the bathroom. I want you to help me do this. It's something I think we could do together." And that that right there leads into, okay, when do you want to do it? And that's communication. That's planning something out to do together. And, like, all right, cool, boom, that's done. But most of the time it's, "Hey, I'm gonna paint the bathroom." Okay. Do you need anything?
that's kind of what I wanted to mention because in a 10-year relationship, it's obviously not. It's never a perfect world. Like, and it's never that simple. Is what I'm trying to say. Like, okay, if if you start a relationship, obviously you're gonna be suggesting like, I'll help you with this, honey. I'll do this, honey, or whatever. But over time, like, sometimes your "I'll help you with this, honey" gets interpreted like, "Oh, you think I can't do this by myself?" Or, like,
Well,
it's
that's
not
what I was
always
saying earlier. That's what I was saying
yeah.
earlier. Is most of the time, like, women have the outlook that men say that in the thought process of, "You can't do this alone," or, "You can't do this. I'll do
Mhm.
it for you." And it's for somebody like me who has the outlook of, "I just want to do it with you so that you're not, like, feeling alone, and I'm your partner in this, so we should be, helping each other out." And whereas most of the time it's not viewed that way because of the many, many years of the chauvinistic, like, men in the world that have shown women that every man who's like, "Do you need help doing that?" is immediately thinking, "You can't do that. I could probably do it better and faster."
Yeah.
But that's where like hardcore feminists come from. And I'm just like, I don't know. I'm just not that type of person. So I can't really relate like to hardcore feminists because it kind of like, I don't know, it gets
Okay,
annoying.
that's a
Um,
good transition there. So feminists, I was gonna kind of transition into what that is, in case somebody. I mean, obviously everybody knows what that is,
Yeah.
but
Go ahead and say the definition for yourself. It's okay.
somebody like me who doesn't know everything. So feminism is described as a social political movement that seeks to address and eliminate systematic inequalities and discrimination that basically disadvantage women. So I feel like feminism is used wrong. What do you think about that, Daisy?
I think that you're completely right. I think feminism more is like about, women should work, women should have the same rights that men's have, not be superior. But I feel like, honestly, like it is a hard world for women. And I say that because I am a woman and I'm in the same world as you guys. And I do see how much easier it is for men to be believed rather than women, especially like in the workforce. And it's crazy because sometimes you get that even from other women. So I feel like, dude, like that's really been embedded into us that, women have less capabilities than men, just like in every way, physically, emotionally. And I like the feminist movement, but like with many things, I feel like it's gone a little bit overboard with some people, like into some people's heads. Cause it's like, jokingly, it's like what Billy said earlier. If you ask a girl like, "Oh, do you need help with that?" Nowadays, you don't even know like if the girl's gonna tell you, "Why? Does it look like I'm not strong enough to hold it?"
Yeah.
Or like you never know what kind of reaction you're gonna get. But it's just like, what if I'm coming from a good place? Like, hey, like I really do you need help? But you just never know because there's just so much aggression behind some people. And I feel like that's not right. Like I think extremist levels of anything is not good for anything or anyone. Like same thing with machismo, same thing with like feminism. It should be like even, not one higher than the other.
Should be a partnership.
Exactly.
So like I mean that's how I kind of view feminism in the same sense that it shouldn't there are like really heavy into feminism like I don't need you to do this, I'm an independent woman. Oh, so you are a woman that is grown, that can pay your bills, congratulations, you're an adult, I'm proud of you.
Exactly. Like
I support that, and I
but to be
support
fair, we
women
didn't have
supporting
that
women
right
too.
all the time. Like
It's
we
true,
couldn't even
it's
have
true.
credit cards.
It's true. You couldn't even vote, couldn't have credit cards. There's many things that women weren't allowed to do that they can do nowadays, and
Yeah.
I support that.
So
I mean,
that's why I'm
it's
grateful for
views,
the
it's
feminist
different
movement.
views out there. It's different like backgrounds, and I support that. I want women to feel comfortable being who they are and going places, but if we live in the world we live in, and there are people that are the worst, and so they have to feel like they aren't equal because of the fact that men feel like they can walk down the street at night. Women can't. Most of the time don't feel that way.
That's true though.
I know.
Like I could never I'm a petite person. Like I'm scared of getting kidnapped. Like I can't go jogging. I can't do I can't go to a bar by myself at night. I mean, I guess I can, but like there's still more of that fear.
You gotta have I would never, you should never go to the bar by yourself. You gotta have somebody to watch your back.
Yeah,
See a look
exactly.
at those drinks so
But
before
that's
you
my
get
point. Like
them.
that shouldn't even if a man is able to recognize it, that's a big issue. So that's where like I could never say that I hate feminists because if it wasn't for them, then I wouldn't even be able to be talking to you guys like
True.
in this way. But I do feel like there's a level to it.
Yeah. It's a level
But it does,
before
and there's
feminism turns
still,
into chauvinism.
yeah, but crazily enough, I feel like it's those women that are going to be the ones to be able to let us like lead us women or myself, there's no other women here, but like lead us women to potentially one day be able to walk the streets at night without being too scared for ourselves, whether it's by us learning how to like what's that thing where people learn like defense or
Self
whatever.
defense.
Yeah, yes, that. Like where people learn self, like whether it's like being more accessible to self-defense, teaching men how to be better, which I don't think is ever going to happen, but like just like general stuff like that.
Taking
But I
shots.
feel like it honestly has to do a lot with like, I don't know, like women hold each other closer than men hold each other.
Like you
I
have
was
a
gonna,
better support
Yes,
system.
exactly. Like we're
yeah,
there for each other. And like men, it's like, oh well, he's like that, but I'm not. Like, what does that have to do
well,
with me?
men are also toughen up, be a man.
Yeah, or like if it has nothing to do with me, I'm not dealing with it, you know?
Yeah. There are definitely extremes on both sides, and it's not viewed as a partnership and on the extremes on both sides. I do think that yes, one day there's a possibility that women could walk at night. However, I genuinely think that oh, the world we live in, there are just too many creeps in it that I don't
Yeah,
think it just I don't know. Yeah, and
exactly. So I'm like, the people that have to change is us, not you guys.
I
It's
mean,
us.
and we're
But
I
I feel
mean,
like that's with a lot of things in general. Like
our
you can't
generation
control the
is the
world
one that's
around you.
moving towards that too.
Oh, absolutely. For sure.
No, I hate the fact that those people that are messing up men's view of men's appearance to everybody in the world. Like that's them. Like that, there's rapists in the world.
Yep.
Like people like that.
Yeah.
Like we're. But I don't want that. Like I hate that people say like, oh, that's all man, but it's not.
It's so hard to differentiate.
I was saying I'm not. It's not all men. I'm a golden retriever gamer boy. Like I'm like 100%. That's not me. I give no fucks about going out and messing with anybody's drink, going out and messing with anybody while they're walking down the street. I'm more of the person that will be like, "Hey, watch out, this is coming up," and that would be the moment where I'm like, "Oh, he's a creep," and I can't. That's the reason why because of those hardcore feminists, a lot of guys like approaching a woman is like kind of a terrifying thing and a highly anxious anxiety building
Yeah.
thing for men is because it's like I want to approach a woman, but my first thought is, oh, if I do approach that, is she going to think I'm creepy? Is she going to think I'm this? Am I going to
Yes.
have to do that? Like, how do I have to word this to make it to where I don't sound creepy, but at the same time get the point off that I'm attracted to you and I'd like to get to know you?
It's like so
For
difficult
sure.
to pinpoint
No, it
the.
really is though, because but it's so hard with like a female too, because it's just like I'll bring my friend's example back where her man was, all amazing, and then they get married and have a kid and he becomes a nightmare. So it's just like honestly, at least in the circle that I've been in, it's like we're all kind of traumatized a little bit. We're like shelter dogs. Like we don't know who to trust. Like if a dog or like anyone, like if a person's been abused and you like try to pretend to smack them or something and they flinch, I
Yeah.
feel like all women have gotten like that with men. Like you never know what to expect. So you're just kind of like hovering and just like on your toes.
I love that example because I that's the whole time we were like talking and yeah we're describing each other's stories. I feel like that's exactly why there are machistas and that's why there are. I wish there was another word for this type of feminist because
It's just
feminism.
chauvinism. If you look it up, chauvinism isn't just for men. Chauvinism is the prejudice against anything. So if you were to say,
Oh.
if you were to just go to like, say for example, if I was to go to Mexico, right, and the first thing
Mhm.
I do is like start talking about how U.S. Where I'm from is better because of this, and it's better because of this. I'm showing prejudice against Mexico, or I'm
Mm-hmm.
showing chauvinist towards Mexico, or I'm being a
Mm.
chauvinist towards Mexico, and that's like that covers that. So like a heavy end feminist is a chauvinist at heart because they are showing prejudice against men.
I like that word.
They need to make a word like machista, but for feminist.
Yes, that's just for
Fichistas.
feminists.
I was going to say,
Well,
would
like
you just go
extremists.
like extreme sus? Like,
Oh, I know the word. Tóxica.
No, toxic. I feel like it's exactly how you described it though, Daisy. Like the women who are, well, let's say, female chauvinists are that way because we already went through that, like the being on the other end of a male chauvinist. and they don't want to, like, for it to happen again, or to be in that
Exactly.
situation again. But that's funny because it's not funny. It's actually really sad because
No, I know what you mean.
it's a never ending cycle because
Yes, it's so tiresome.
like it's that, like that example in let's say high school. I'm just gonna say high school. Like like the pretty girl dates the jock, and the jock treats her nasty and bad, and then she becomes the person who treats people bad, and then she dates the nerd who is all good and innocent or whatever, and she makes him bad. So like it's just a never ending cycle.
And let me just, that's literally my exact like situation type thing. Cause it's just like by the time that I had something good, like I wasn't able to differentiate it. And that's where like self sabotage comes in. And that's how you end up hurting someone. But I don't think it's always like intentional. I think it's just like you're so used to the cycle. So it's just like if you're used to riding a bicycle a certain way and like it always takes you to the end, then you're going to keep riding it like that until you realize like, wait a minute, this is not the end that I want to get to. Like I didn't realize there was another way, like
there,
a better way.
there's a quote that I heard a while back. It's, if you always do what you always did, you always get what you always got.
Exactly.
And
That's such a good quote.
and I mean, it kind of goes a long ways with one of Einstein quotes. If you do the same thing over and over, hoping for a different result, that's just the definition of insanity. So, like,
Really dropping some knowledge up in here. Vocabulary words.
I do it to Brandon all the time.
He always says these ASAT words, and he hears me like googling it, like what the heck does that mean?
Me not even coming
I
up
mean,
with
I'm not even doing
what's
it
that
on
other word?
purpose though. Like, it's more like it's stuff that I've learned and things that I've just out of context through my life, because most of my life has been this guy, me, doing my thing and trying to learn life my own way because that's all I've had. And I've been with girls that have cheated. Actually, almost every girl has cheated on me. All but one has cheated on
I'm
me in
so
my entire
sorry.
life.
That's
Um,
awful.
I was played by the girl I lost my virginity to. She was playing me on with another guy. Um, hell, the last girl strung me along for a year, until I finally, like, my brain shut off and I said, she was trying to gaslight me one day, and I just brain shut off and said, okay, well, I'm done. And then she got really mad, and I was like, it's whatever. And I just blocked and walked away. And it took just breaking me into a point of where I am now, where I kind of just shut down. Like, I used to be a very outgoing, like, I worked at a hotel. Like, I used to be a very talkative, outgoing, like, not afraid to go to a bar and talk to somebody if I saw them. I was the center of attention. I was an only child whenever I had my parents in my life, so I didn't
Hmm.
have to, you know. Of course, I seek the attention, but I've also been in a situation where I had to share the attention. That's the reason why my only child doesn't stick out as often as some do.
Yeah.
And I've experienced a lot of bullshit through women, through my parents. Like, there are things that I've learned to not do because I've seen what it does to other people, because I am at heart an empath too. Like, I have, like, feel other people's pain.
Hmm.
And I if I sometimes I don't, I just feel like they need space, and I do that, and that's a lot of times, like, how guys deal with things, like, figured out. So, like, hearing the other side, I kind of sympathize it, or well, more empathize with how women have to deal with things throughout the years, or even not even just women for that matter. Think about it in the sense of LGBTQ. Like, that community also has had to deal with a lot of things. I call myself an ally to that community, as well as an ally to feminists that aren't fully extreme and make me feel like I'm a piece of shit because I am a man.
Because you
that
like to mow
I,
the lawn instead of making your girl do it.
because, yeah, because I like, Yeah, I like to, you know, dabble in books, video games, board games, and stuff like that. That's my hobbies. That's the things that I do because that
Yeah,
makes me happy. And I've been in relationships where because I do that, I'm less of a man. And I'm like,
everybody just has a preference.
it's like I need to do your things to make me a man. Like I need to be working 12-hour days every day and then come home to, you
Lifting
know,
bricks all day, every day.
yeah, I'm not trying to build the house. I'm trying to live in it, you know? That's the reason why like
That's a little controversial though, because like for example, us that we have desk jobs, like I did get you get seen in another light whenever you are working out in the sun and suffering all day.
bro, I'll tell you right now. I know if you've seen The Office, you know Michael got what that episode whenever Daryl's calling him it says his job's Kush, and he got
Yeah.
really like super like kind of like offended by it, and he was trying to defend himself. No, hell no. Yeah, I'm Kush. My shit's Kush. I've worked on that other side. I prefer this one. Y'all have fun over there if you want to do that. I'll sit here and listen to your comments and laugh at you from the AC. I'm good.
No, yeah, but that's also like, so it's also confusing because like I see it with women a lot. Like, okay, so it's more manly to quote unquote to work like in construction or somewhere outside, but whenever, but you prefer to be with a man that's working in an office because they make more money. Does that make sense? Like if I go into a restaurant, or like if a female goes into a restaurant, they're not going to sit with a guy with the muddy boots. They're going to sit with a guy that has like pretty shoes. You know what I mean? So it's just like, make up your mind.
It depends on the girl, I think,
Yeah, yeah,
because
for sure. But like, it's just weird.
Fun fact, I don't know if you guys know about this. It's kind of a history thing, but you know the Vikings, Scandinavians, and everything. The reason why the Europeans hated them so much is because they took very good care of themselves, and whenever they came onto the islands, the women would give themselves freely because the men were beautiful, the men were like well kept,
This
and
is
whereas the Europe,
Scandinavians, you say?
it's the Vikings. And it was that's it's the Vikings. They like had beautiful long hair that was very that was combed, it was oiled, their beards were well maintained, oiled, like they were in great shape, and they would come onto the island and and they didn't have to rape and pillage, though they did do a lot of raping and pillaging, but there were like when they would go into Europe and women would just seek them out freely, and men would get mad, would be pissed off because they're not taking care of themselves. They're just living in the city, being whatever they were in the past. Like it's kind of an interesting like thought on that because the men that are living in the city are the ones with the muddy boots, and the guys that were on the ships are the ones with the pristine look.
Yeah, that's funny.
so just to kind of wrap up the episode, I feel like before anybody misinterprets or cancels us, we are supporters of feminism. We are
Absolutely.
supporters of man support men, but we are definitely not supporters of male chauvinists and female chauvinists. So that just to clear that up, because once it reaches that level of toxic, like that's either end, whoever it is, that's not this is not healthy.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it doesn't matter who it comes from. It's
I
just
support
not right.
I support feminists. I support men. I support both sides, but toxic femininity and toxic masculinity are not supported by me
Yeah.
whatsoever. Like toxicity can stay in the bin where it belongs.
Biohazard.
Yep.
And I really feel like we have rare unicorns because you, Daisy, the way that you think, I feel like not every woman thinks that way, and Billy as well. Not every man thinks that way. So I feel like you have some really good qualities, and
I
for
wish
the
Talia was
listeners,
here so we could get
why?
another female perspective.
Oh, I know. I thought you were like, so she can
We get to
point
hear
stuff out
background
about me.
on
Yeah.
thing. Oh yeah, that would be down to that.
You'll hear about it next episode or something. Yeah,
Perfect.
I didn't want to wake her up. She's pregnant. She's
No, I know. Yeah, let her get her
37.
rest.
She's gonna be 38 weeks, I think, next week. So
Oh
yeah,
man.
she's towards the end phase.
So
Anytime
close
now.
to the end.
The end game.
Oh man, you excited?
Yeah, I'm excited and a little worried. I try not to worry about it until he's out already, but it's because we went through a little scare. Because this past Friday she had like contractions, and then we're like, oh crap, it's
Mm-hmm.
time. Because sometimes my coworkers kind of were the ones who freaked me out. Your sister also freaked me out,
Oh
Daisy,
no.
because they were saying that the water doesn't always break. So I'm like,
Yeah.
oh shoot, okay. I'm like, she's having contractions though. So we called the non-emergency line, and they were like, yeah, just bring her in. So we were already ready, and like, oh, he's coming. Like we're getting mentally prepared, and then she gets checked, and then they're like, oh no, she's barely 1 centimeter. So we went home. I was
Oh
like,
man.
man. So yeah, we're just waiting any time now, but we're excited. The new baby
Oh,
coming.
I'm excited for you guys.
Hopefully they get
Well,
along. They're both gonna be Aquarius.
is that a good thing or a bad thing that they're both?
I don't know. I need to ask Dan. I think he said it was better than being a Gemini. I think that's
Oh,
what he
Oh my
said.
gosh.
Did
Yes.
we ask her what?
Geminis.
Did we ask her her sign? I guess since
Oh
we
yeah, what is your
already did
sign,
that.
Daisy?
Since we did all of that last episode.
I'm not Gemini. I'm a Leo.
Oh,
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
I'm gonna ask Danny. I'm like, can you comment on the episode? What is the qualities of Leos?
What are you guys?
I'm an Aries,
Guess.
and guess Billy's.
Billy is. Are you a Cancer?
No, but some people could say otherwise. No, I'm a Scorpio.
He's
Okay.
you're
Okay.
odd Scorpio, because like you
I'm
do
very
like
passionate.
I guess yeah.
You've heard
Sounds
me
like
talk about things that I care about.
that's because I relate Scorpios to toxicity. That's why I'm like, you're not that toxic.
That's what I relate Geminis with. I'm scared because I birthed a Gemini,
Oh shit!
but
Yeah,
she seems to be the pretty face of the coin, so she's pretty nice.
Aaron was saying that his brother is a Gemini and that they're two faced. So
Yeah, that's why I'm like, she's got the pretty the good
you
side of the
haven't
coin.
you haven't seen the other side yet.
I mean, I see a little bit of it, but I can tolerate it. It's okay.
I guess I can ask you of the podcast. I was like, I saw how like she's already so grown, but
Yeah, she's gonna be 5 in May.
damn,
Yeah, I wish I
I
could get
can't
her a sibling.
I can't wait for my son to talk, because he doesn't talk yet, and he's already turning 2. But
Oh, really?
Careful what you wish for there, bud.
Yes. Does he say
but
mommy or daddy or anything?
yeah, he says small things like, like bullies and mom,
Of
dad.
course.
Yeah, he loves his pops. Like it's not popsicles. What is it? Just ice, flavored ice.
Ice ice pop?
Ice pops. Yeah,
Icicle?
Wouldn't
I
that
don't
be
know.
basically what a popsicle is, though? Like
I thought
Okay.
flavored
popsicles
No,
ice?
were.
it comes in a little tube.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the ones that you
What
cut
it
off at the end that
yeah,
are the
what
best
do you
things in the
call it?
summer.
Oh
I've
yeah.
always called those popsicles.
What?
Okay.
They're not popsicles though.
I think about like ice
Well,
cream
isn't
when
it
I hear
just
popsicles.
well, no, because ice cream is ice cream, right? Like I
I
don't
guess.
think you know the vanilla bar with the chocolate like outer like cone or not cone, the like quote unquote popsicle, I guess is
No,
what
that's
you
an
guys
ice
is.
cream sandwich.
No, I'm not talking about the wafer on each side. I'm
Oh.
talking about like it was dipped into chocolate. It was dipped
Oh,
into
okay, okay,
fudge.
okay.
It was like vanilla on a stick dipped in fudge. You would call that popsicle, but that's just ice cream.
It's an ice cream popsicle.
I guess it's on a
What?
stick, but I mean I like to me it's just ice cream, just like the how is one of the cones. Is that a popsicle or is it like
No, that's an ice cream cone.
I'm talking about the ones that, like the ones that you get out of the fridge. The best thing
Yeah.
about them is the tip. Did you know that there was a cereal that they made that is just the tips?
Okay.
No, I mean
Sorry,
like
I feel like
I'm
I'm
sorry.
being inappropriate laughing at that.
I'm
Just with
actually
your
not even being
laugh.
I'm actually talking about like the cone tip that
Billy
always has the
said just
chocolate
the
in.
tip.
Yep, sure did.
Brandon,
Uh-huh.
have you laughed like your real laugh with around my sister or anything?
No, she hasn't met. She only knows manager Brendan. She hasn't seen.
That's unfortunate.
She hasn't seen her.
I have been dying to hear your laugh. Like
Hey,
it's
Brandon.
like the most iconic laugh in the world.
Brandon, just go look in the mirror real quick. You'll get a good laugh, and
Or I could just pull your profile pictures up from Facebook.
you could do that too. You could do that too. I wouldn't mind if that'll help.
Oh
I usually,
man.
if I need a smile or get a laugh in the day, I usually just pull up my Facebook. That guy. Who did he think he was?
All right, guys. I think this is a good spot to close this. I love how this topic is like never ending. So I don't know. Maybe we can.
For sure. Like it can just keep going and going.
Yeah. But I like this episode though. Like I want it to be like we can talk about anything. Like this is a really controversial topic. But
It is. That's why I was like, I have nothing against like feminists, but
like
it's
don't
the
cancel me.
extremist part. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
like yeah. Like I'm sorry. I've been through stuff.
I've seen some shit.
It's the trauma speaking. I'm still in therapy. Please don't. Please don't knock me down while I haven't gotten up yet.
Yeah.
True.
But I want to thank you, Daisy, for being part of the episode. I know it was kind of last minute. I'll try not to do that. I do want to have you on like just a one-on-one interview, but it's gonna take some time. And those are kind of I gotta find a way of doing it. But
especially with
I'm really
baby
excited.
coming.
Oh yeah.
He'll have plenty of time on the maternity leave.
Oh, how long do you get?
No, I don't get so much. I'm just gonna get like a week.
That's
Oh my
his own. I'm
God.
pretty sure that's his own fault because he can't stay away from work.
That and
Aw.
I can't leave you. I'm leave everybody because there's only like 2 people. So yeah, I can't do that to them.
Why? My sister's so good at her job.
Well, yeah, but if it's only her by herself, like she's gonna struggle. Yeah, thank you, Daisy, and thanks, Billy, for sharing your thoughts and sharing personal stories. I really love
Yeah,
that.
of course.
Good show.
Anytime.
And
I'm filled with stories.
and for the listeners, make sure to check out our socials and comment. Like we haven't grown that much, but I mean it's fine. I feel like once we get this covered, y'all enjoy the episodes as much as we do recording them.
For sure.
Brendan's over here. It's fine.
It's
What
fine.
we need, so we can talk off record, Brendan, but like we'll totally, I can totally help you out with your social media.
Oh yeah,
Like
Daisy's a
give you
social
some
media
tips on
manager.
auditing. I am, so I can help you out.
I'll ping you. I mean, I'll get with you later. I've been holding off on asking you because I'm like I don't want like you already work. That's your work, and then to ask you more work.
Yeah, no, I don't mind. I only charge $200 for demos, so it's okay.
Oh shit!
I'm just kidding.
Yeah, Brandon got you. Brandon got you.
No, for sure. Like, no, I'd be more than happy to, especially if I'm able to grow it. Like, that'd be lit.
Yeah.
But yeah, for sure, because there's so much good stuff like in your podcast. Like, just a tip, I feel like it would be so good to start including, like, to start doing video.
Oh,
even
you
if
weren't
it's
talking
like
about
this.
just the tip. You're talking. God.
Just a tip again. I've been begging these guys to do video, but they don't want to.
Even if it's separate. Billy, do you want to be a successful person with a successful podcast? Get on video.
Right?
Yeah. I think that's one of the hardest jobs, like as a social media manager. Like, you know what? If you want to make it, you got to act a fool sometimes, like on camera. I'm sorry, but you got to do it.
I'll be a VTuber.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And
like,
for our listeners, I know the one-on-one, I kind of want to talk about social media with you, Daisy. So that'll be a good transition topic. But I do want to just close this episode out. Thanks everybody for getting on, and check out our website. Give us a follow, and thank you for listening.
Yes, follow and interact. Everybody's here is so funny.
Right.
I vouch more for Brendan because I've known him longer, but Billy, you've been pretty hilarious every time. So I always enjoy your input in the podcasts.
Thank you.